Hey guys, welcome back. It's time for Standard 10, Part 2. This is disease and disorders. So let's get going. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder is known as COPD. It's a span of different pulmonary or lung disorders. The one you specifically need to know about as the example is emphysema. Now, emphysema is a long-term progressive disease that gets worse and worse and worse over time. And basically, what happens is by breathing in bad stuff, normally smoke, right? Cigars, cigarettes, all any type of smoke, anything you breathe in will probably most likely be damaging your alveoli. And as you cause damage to these tissues, they break down and stretch out. And so now you have less surface area to do oxygen exchange. And so you end up with lower amounts of oxygen being diffused into your bloodstream, and basically you feel like you're suffocating at almost all times. There's a video below this. Check that out. Really, really interesting. As you can see, COPD and people who smoke end up peaking here at 65 to 75 because that's where their lifespan normally ends. And so then it dips off. But then people who have stopped smoking, they still are more likely to have COPD, but their expectancy is a lot longer. So make sure you check that out. And then there's always these never smokers, and these are people who have like the asbestos commercials you see all the time for people who have experienced COPD or emphysema due to asbestos. That's them. That's these black numbers down here. Okay. Next up is lung cancer. Lung cancer is pretty straightforward. Remember, all cancers are caused by your own cells going tumorous or becoming cancerous where they don't do any functional work. They just double and duplicate, duplicate, duplicate until they become this large mass. Um, that normally starts because of some type of damage. Again, the more times your cells have to replicate, the more likely they are of having a problem or going into a cancerous mode. And so, again, smoking increases your chances of lung cancer because you're causing your lungs to fix themselves and make up for all the damage smoking does to you over and over and over again. Also, workplaces that have um, that ask you to wear masks because you're also causing more damage by breathing in fine dusts and particles. So I know I've had some friends that worked at lumber shops, and those fine dust particles from sanding at like a 500 or 400 or 200 grit can get into your lungs and also cause damage. Okay, and then cystic fibrosis. This I put in here with the other two smoking things because cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease, so you don't get to choose it. And basically, it causes persistent lung infections because of this thick, sticky mucus. There's a video about a little girl who's getting a treatment for that. I would definitely watch that, but realize that this is something that's genetic that they don't cause, but even secondhand smoke can have a serious negative effect on people with cystic fibrosis because even small amounts of those harmful chemicals can have some really negative effects. Okay. Next up is tuberculosis. So tuberculosis is caused by this microbacterium. It's the reason I wanted to put it on here is because it spreads similar to the coronavirus, where it's by little droplets in your mouth that can go up to 6 feet away. And it's one of the most communicable diseases. About 1.5 million people die each year from it. And if you can see this layout of the map, that's actually not the map of tuberculosis. That's the ranking of healthcare. So the more red you are, the worse your healthcare is. The more green you are, the better your healthcare is. But it's eerily similar to the map of actual tuberculosis rates. Okay, so the crappier your ability to get in and get medical care, the more likely you are to have tuberculosis. So you notice rich, well healthcare systems don't have that problem. And then if you look at this is what happens when you do have a good healthcare system, but you're over prescribing the cure, where you're giving way too many antibiotics. You create medically resistant strains. And so just imagine what a medically resistant strain of tuberculosis could do if that were the next pandemic. All right, get the pass off done, and I'll see you in a bit.